When making stop-motion videos, you learn a lot of tips and tricks along the way. These range from the simple to a little more advanced. This video will show you some behind-the-scenes tips and tricks to improve your stop-motion animations. Number 1. Let's talk about the camera and scenery movement. In stop-motion animation, it's oftentimes a lot easier to move the set than it is the camera. For most shots, you want your scenes to be still so you can clamp them in place. If you want them to move side to side, I often clamp a piece of wood in front that the scenery can slide along. For rotation shots, you've got to get creative. Here I have two boards nailed together in the center so I can spin it with ease. If the camera movement is really awkward or difficult to do, sometimes it makes sense to do it digitally. In this case, you zoom out, animate everything, and then digitally move the camera in. Just make sure you use the highest resolution so that when you zoom in, it doesn't look too bad. When a Lego minifigure walks, it's very important to alternate left and right steps. However, it's easy to forget which step is next, and this gets very complicated when there's multiple figures to move. An easy fix to this is to make a marker or pointer that you can use off screen. Here the piece identifies which leg is to move forward next. Before the character's feet come together, flip the marker to identify the new forward moving leg. You can even color match if there's more than one character on the screen. It may be more complicated, and yes, there's more things to move now, but I've been using this tool for over 10 years now, and in all of my videos and all of my crowd scenes, there's only a couple times where a step is out of place. In stop motion, sometimes it makes sense to film things in reverse. A good example of this is getting a car to stop right where you want it. Rather than have the car slow down and hope you hit the spot, start exactly where you want it and film everything backwards. You can also do this if there's something complicated and easy to bump. Rather than screw up at the end of the shot, do the hard part first, film everything backwards, and then flip it for the final product. For most of my videos, my choice of lighting is LED shop lights. I have one in the back and one in the front to try to light everything up uniformly. A lot of times, faces and other surfaces will appear very dark though, and you need to reflect light back up at them. Here I use some cardboard where one side is white and reflective. In this case, however, the light base plate everywhere already helps reflect light upwards. If you have a dark floor, this difference becomes much more apparent. If you have a reflective surface like a wall in the background, you've got to watch out though, because now this cardboard can be seen. Which leads us to our next topic. Lego is very shiny and more reflective than you may think. The most important thing though is to know your angles. If the camera is positioned here with this wall, your reflections become very obvious when you stand over here. You either need to block the reflections, again with something like cardboard, or move to the other side to animate. A lot of people don't realize that most of the flicker in their videos comes from reflections of themselves. Minimizing these reflections is key. Especially when dealing with small Lego, you need to zoom in and get very close. However, sometimes your camera either won't focus or your zoom lens is only so good. That's where I use these macro extension tubes. They go between the camera and the lens and allow you to get even closer. Here's a picture zoomed in all the way with the different extension tubes. Although the camera is in the same place and is pretty far back, this allows the appearance of getting much closer. Another camera aspect to discuss is the aperture, or f-stops. If you set this value high, everything appears to be more in focus. However, if you want more of a dramatic change, or if you have something close and you want the background to be blurry, go with a lower f-stop. Here's a couple examples. When a Lego character turns their head, you want no slip between the head and the hairpiece. Use a bit of hot glue to prevent this. You'll need a second identical hairpiece when you change expressions, but the glued head makes things easier for the other 90% of the time. I also prefer hot glue when possible, because it's less permanent. You can usually separate the hair from the head if needed, unlike other permanent glues. Stay organized. Stop motion videos take a lot of time to make, so don't waste that time looking for pieces. There's no rule on how to be organized, so put pieces where you know to find them. If your character is having troubles balancing or walking on smooth surfaces, use a bit of modeling clay. Anything stickier than modeling clay won't clean up that easy. Also, be sure to use only a small amount so that it's not seen. Keep your common tools handy. I recommend always having a ball of clay, a pick for cleaning as well as Q-tips or cotton swabs, canned air, and I use a lens cleaner brush for debris. Also, never forget that trusty brick separator. At the time of this video, I use a Canon T6, also known as a 1300D, as my camera. I use the provided Canon EOS utility to take pictures, and I use Sony Vegas Pro for all of my video editing needs. As always, thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to never miss the next video.